And good evening. Now chat show. I'm your girl Kaz Mac, alongside my co-host
Miss
Queen.
T in the building.
We're in the
Just a
building.
while.
Oh my gosh, was you melting yesterday?
No,
You wasn't.
no.
Oh, mate,
I
it
love
was
it.
so hot. I
I
know it
mean,
was.
I
Yeah.
was studying, so I was like the hottest day, and I'm in the house. Like I really don't mind it. I love it. I really
Hold on a
do. So
second. So you were
I
studying in that heat.
yeah, I had an
You're a G.
assignment to get done. I had deadlines, so yeah, I got it done. I was
Oh,
on time.
you was right there on time.
Yep.
Always on time. Not
Mhm.
anyway, I don't even remember
Yeah,
the
man.
lyrics, but anyhow. But yeah, guys, we do have an amazing show lined up for you today. We are on the Blaxit series. So
Woo,
today
again.
we have two amazing, phenomenal queens who's going to be joining us in the next, say, like 10 to 15 minutes. We have Dayna Byfield, who she's well, we've had her on the show before, but she's moved from England. Can you imagine? She's moved from sunny England to St. Vincent and the Grenad? How do you pronounce
Grenadines.
it? Steve? Grenadines, yeah.
Grenadines. Mhm.
So, and then we also have Zoe Smith, who's also from sunny UK, and she's moved over to Grenada. I don't know why I'm saying sunny UK, like we're experiencing the sunshine
Well,
all the
at the
time.
moment, yeah. Like
Yeah,
they broke records. They broke records yesterday. Come on.
no, like we was actually hotter than I'm sure Grenada and St. Vincent.
I think so, because I know, in this country, you can't work if it's a certain temperature, if it's too cold. But
Right.
they haven't got that law in. If it's too hot, then you can't work. So they're actually trying to rush that through at the moment.
Say
So
that
I
again.
never thought.
Rewind, come
So,
again. Say it again.
okay, so in this country, if it's below a certain temperature in the workforce, you're not supposed to work. And I can't remember what that temperature is. So if anybody knows, join
Put
us and
in
let
the
us know.
yes,
Um,
please. No.
but yeah, so there was a thing that they were saying like it's way too hot for people to be working, and there needs to be a law to say that if it reaches this temperature, then everybody downs their tools. I never
What?
thought I would have it. Yes, yes.
But hold on. So I mean, like obviously you had some of the schools that were closed and everything else. But in my head, I'm just like England comes like a third world country sometimes because if it's really, like if we have deep snow, then everything gets shut down. They
I
can't
know.
cope. London transportation,
I've
everything
never
gets
understood that. Like
if
you're
it's
a
hot
rainy.
now.
This is your thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And now if the weather gets really warm, again, no school. If you can
Can't
work from
cope.
home, work from home. That's a mad thing. Like literally, it's just absolutely crazy. But hey, we keep it moving because I mean, I was in the sun. I was on Owning It with Iola show.
I
Guys, if
heard
you
you.
haven't checked it out, please
So
do.
cool.
Yeah, it was such a blessing to be. You know me, I love radio. I'm just a born
I know it's
radio
your passion,
presenter.
Queen.
It's my
And you
passion.
just came alive. Like while I was doing my work, I was smiling. I was listening. Listen to my girls. It was
Oh,
nice. It was really
bless
cool. And
you.
even though you didn't have Pablo on, it meant that I could hear your voices even more. So like,
Yeah, it was a blessing. I mean, it was a shame that we didn't have Pablo on, but I do
of
believe
course.
that Iola is going to be revisiting that. I think it was a time difference, and I think he didn't realize it was the British summertime. And because
Mhm.
obviously he's based in Kenya, and I believe he's traveling in the world right now, in the sky, not in the world, in the sky as we
Wow.
speak, because he's actually making his way to London because he's going to be holding a workshop. So obviously he does
Oh,
yoga and everything else. So do guys do
he's
check
an
out the
amazing facilitator. If you can get to go
girl.
and practice with him, do that,
Yeah,
guys. Seriously,
yeah,
Pablo Romani,
definitely.
phenomenal.
Pablo Amani, for sure. Good evening, Maxine. Thank
Hi,
you very
Maxine.
much for joining us this evening. Hope you are enjoying the sun as well. Good evening to everybody else that is watching us live. You could be anywhere. You could be watching Live Island or some form of reality show, but you are here with us, so we are extremely grateful. But we do have a guest who's going to quickly talk about an upcoming event, and her name is Candy. So I'm just going to bring up her information. So this is the Afri Caribbean Culture, Craft and Wellbeing Market. It's taking place this Saturday, guys, from 10 to 9 p.m. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Candy quickly on, and she's going to just run us through the event itself and why she created it. And she's only got 5 minutes before we bring on our guests. So welcome, Candy, to the show.
Hey, Jen.
Hello.
Hi. How you doing? It's lovely to see you at last.
I know we've spoken, but seeing each other in real life. But it's not real life because we can't touch each other.
Virtual real life. Virtual real life. It's good to see you. I am sweating. Oh, I am just sweltering over here.
You're all glowing.
But listen, you're glowing. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I'm glowing. It's salt water. Hi, Miss PG.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you. Good to meet you. Now, I know I am short of time, so I'm going to try and fire out this information, okay?
This event.
I'm really pleased. Thank you so much for giving me a little bit of time here to meet you and also to tell everybody about the Afri-Caribbean Culture, Craft and Wellbeing Market that I'm so, so proud that I've been able to put together. Where did it come from? I heard you mention something like that. Well, it came from my desire to create a space where small traders, we're such gifted people. We're so innovative and creative. And often we're unsung heroes. You know, we have a lot of ghetto superstars, that I think really need any kind of spotlight they can get. You understand? To be noticed and to get their gifts and their crafts and their talents exposed. So, and that's across not only crafts, it happens in music, it happens in sport, anyway, I'll get off that tangent. So the market is about offering a space where people who have a talent, people who have a gift, the creatives that we have around us every day. Some have only realized through COVID and lockdown that, hey, I've got this, I can make this thing, or I can do this thing, or they've had that space and opportunity to create something that they've always wanted to do. So it was about really giving them a space where they can be exposed to customers and show off their craft, show off their product, whether it's beauty, handmade soaps, organic products, whether it's crafts like jewelry. We've got some beautiful jewelry. We've got some wonderful organic, holistic herbs. We've got crystals. We've got a tarot reader. Yes, we have a tarot reader proper. We've got vegan. We've got a lovely lady who has just discovered that she can make vegan ice cream.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm thinking about doing a tune for that one.
Is that going to be on sale on the day? Is that going to be on sale on the day, the vegan ice cream?
Oh, absolutely. I'm only talking about what's going to be on sale on the day. I'm bigging up my stall holders. Okay, this is the 23rd of July, this Saturday coming. And it's at Patchworks, which is an arts centre. And I've got to large up the Patchworks management as well for allowing me to have the space to provide this market for African and Caribbean inspired cultural art and crafts. Okay, so come down. There'll be food. There'll be some drinks, of course, and there'll be music. We're going to have some DJs passing through, playing everything from Afro house to reggae.
Wicked!
Thank you so much.
Amazing. So you can turn up, and if you can just remind us of the address where everyone will need to go, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it would help if I told everyone where it was, wouldn't it? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's at Patchworks Art Centre, which is 258 Church Road, which is in Leighton E10 7JQ. Okay, the bus is 158. Sorry,
so 258 Church Road, and what was the postcode again?
258 Church Road, and it's E10 7JQ.
Fantastic. Okay.
J for jamming. Yeah,
and
JQ.
For the Queen.
A Q for Queen. And also, sorry, I must just say it's from 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. So it's a day to night market. Yeah, so you ain't got no excuse. Pass by.
pass by. Okay, guys, so make sure you come and check out this event that Candice has put together, taking place this Sunday. I'm going to share
Saturday.
My apologies, sorry. I'm running kind of like ahead of myself. But yes, it's going to be taking place this Saturday. I'm going to just share the flyer. So just bear with me one moment. So guys, do make a note of this. So this is the information. It's the Patchwork Art Centre, 258 Church Road, Leighton, E10 7J for Juliet, Q for Quebec. And make sure you tell everybody about it. If you've got any further inquiries, by all means, I take it this, Candice, is your number. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. That's my number. And the email address is tradition, like the logo, TRODITION at yahoo.co.uk. And you're all welcome. Come and experience African and Caribbean inspired arts, crafts, and well-being products that by local people that are talented and have professionalism and your welfare at their heart. Okay,
that's amazing.
Beautiful.
So if you can do me a favor, Candice, if you can actually put in the group in the comments, put all the information on there so that everybody can get the full information. I did share the address, but just put more information, like I'm sure what you're sharing a broadcast or something, so that anybody that replay afterwards, they can actually get the information through the live comments itself.
I will do. Thank you. And before I go, I've got to send a huge large up and a huge hug going out to Iola Williams.
There you go. She's on the live right now.
Queen Iola. Yeah, I just saw her name flash up and I thought, oh my goodness, I haven't shouted out my girl, my queen. Oh my goodness. Iola,
So big up yourself, Iola, and definitely big up yourself for making a connection and doing all the fabulous work that you are doing within the community. You know, we just have to give credit.
Amazing work she's doing. Amazing. And also her lovely husband, Dean.
Absolutely. And big up Dean as well, full of wisdom. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, Candice. Are you going to be staying watching the show itself?
I'm actually in the middle. I'm actually in the middle of redecorating at the moment. I'm down at the house redecorating, so I've put myself in a corner here, so you can't see all the bits, all the equipment that's around me.
You can listen in the background while
leave it on. Yeah, I won't be able to stay on camera, but I'll certainly leave it on. Absolutely, and keep it because I've got to update the chat as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Lovely to meet you, Miss TG. You didn't even get a word in edgeways. Sorry.
It's all right. Don't worry.
All right. So take
blessings
care.
And love.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Amazing. So guys, do check out. I know, right? I only met.
I love the connections that we have to our community. It is just so heartwarming. They see me, I just smile. I'm tired, everybody. So yeah, I'll just be smiling more than
you. I think that might be everybody at this moment. But guys, what I will say is if you do know anybody that's got an upcoming event that is going to be beneficial for our community, by all means, do get in contact with us. And you can send us a direct message. If you're not following us on our social media, why not? If you're not subscribed to the channel, why not?
Why not?
To comment, we need to hear from you. Let us know if there's any specific topics that you want us to cover, and we will do our absolute best to do so to serve you, the community. So without further ado, I believe we're going to just bring in our guest now. And just bear with me one moment. Oh gosh, it's a full house. It's great to see everybody.
It's great to see everyone.
Right, so we've got Dayna in the building.
Hey.
And we've got Zoe Smith in the building. Hey, Queens.
Hey, how are you?
We're great. We are great.
Everybody's glowing. I just love it.
I've been trying to stop sweating. It's not working.
Stop sweating. Listen, lady, don't even worry about it. You can just pat yourself down. You have a flannel. You have a rag. All right, so we're going to go straight into it because obviously we've only got a certain amount of time and we want to get through as much as we potentially can today. So Dayna, we're going to start off with you, because obviously you've been on the show before. I know you're on a personal level as well, and you are now living in St. Vincent. Like,
I am. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is home. I just want to say really quickly, because I look really large on the screen, I have placed myself ever so strategically in front of this light that is behind me. That's the reason I'm super large. I mean, I'm larger than life anyway. That's the reason I look so large on the screen. Otherwise, all your eye will get bun out. So just bear with me momentarily. But yes, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is now home. I have made a quick pit stop into London. So I'm actually in London at the moment. I promised everyone when I got back, I've been channeling for months, and this is real talk, right? I've been channeling for months that I'm going to bring the heat back with me. So this is actually me. So next year, I'm going to channel 27 degrees. Because I like to over-deliver. So clearly that's what's happened. I've been back 4 weeks, and it's been hot for the whole 4 weeks. I'm serious.
Dayna, thank you so much. We love you. Dayna, we actually love you. But can you just dim it down a little bit? Yeah. Not that we're complaining, just a little bit. Thanks for the rain yesterday. We really appreciate that last night. We needed that. Okay, so you're currently just in London for just for a short period of time, but you actually reside now at St. Vincent. I could never pronounce the next part.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Grenadines.
You have to skim up your teeth. Grenadines. Yeah, you see? Yes.
I'm going to be on point by the end of tonight, yeah? And then we've got Zoe Smith. So Zoe, you originally was living in the UK, and now you are living in Grenada. Is that correct?
Yeah, just round the corner from Dayna.
Yeah, I know. We're like buddies. We need to meet up, and I've heard amazing things about you, Zoe. So it's lovely to see you online in the flesh.
Indeed.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to start straight with you, Dayna. So why St. Vincent? How did that start? When did you move over?
So actually, it's quite funny. My husband's family's mum's side is Vincentian, right? And when we met, nearly 12 years ago, he was like, I ain't living in this country full time. And I was like, well, I ain't living anywhere else full time, but we'll do a few holidays. And my mum's side of the family is originally from Caribbean, Jamaica. And not only have I moved to St. Vincent, it was my first ever time to the Caribbean. So I did it like, people are like, your girl, you are crazy, right? So that's where the connect is, husband side of the family. Mum-in-law unfortunately passed away last year. Thank you. So we had to go back anyway to sort out some affairs. And hubby and I sat down one day and we're like, really, we don't need to be in the UK and London. There's nothing to tie us here, apart from the fact that we have family, love them to bits. Let's go for it and let's see. So I did the whole hog. New continent, never been there before, pick up all my things, come and leave. And we'll never, ever look back.
And what year was this?
So this was last year. This was October.
So this was in 2021.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was during the, like when we going through the lockdown stages? Or?
Yes, still somewhat, but coming towards the end.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. All right. We're just going to pin you there just for a moment, Dayna. So we're going to move over to Zoe. So Zoe, what motivated you to move to Grenada?
What motivated me to move? I was just fed up of being in the UK, to be honest. Like fed up, done to the back teeth. Probably for about at least 10, 12 years. And every year when the clocks would go back, I'd say, never again. I've got to be out. And it took me a decade.
Right.
But my family from Grenada, and I used to come here as a kid and hated it because no one knew where it is. It's not like Jamaica. It's not cool. It was like the middle of nowhere. But so it's definitely been a process to coming to love the island. But I just needed to be somewhere else, somewhere less intense, somewhere more natural, and lots more. But I'll start small for now.
Okay, so what year did you move over to Grenada?
So I did a trial run in 2015, stayed here for 6 months. Went back to England, had another child, and then made the official move last summer in July July 2020.
Oh, so you used 2021 as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It should have been 2020, but there were no flights. So I was
Yeah.
supposed to leave in January, but yeah, locked down fully.
Wow. Okay. Miss T, do you have any questions you want to
No,
ask?
I do. So I know that you both have children, because for me as a parent, that's one of the crucial things, is kind of like picking them up from some where they've been born, what they know, to moving them elsewhere. How has the transition been for both of you? And I'd like to ask Dayna first, please.
Okay, so I've got two boys. Our oldest is 21, and obviously, so he's a big adult sorting out himself, and he's still in the UK, and the youngest is 7. And before I answer that question, I'm actually going to make a statement. What I find with human beings, and as someone who spent a large portion of my life studying humans, we don't like change, even when the potential of change is potentially the best thing for us. Humans like homeostasis, right? So if we can understand that anything that we want to change and move towards we are going to experience resistance, we're already 5 steps ahead, because we're like, I know that's going to come. Because actually, flip the question on its head. Instead of taking my child away from everything that they've known, what about giving my child everything that they've never had? Right? So for us personally, we were homeschoolers before we left. And everyone's like, oh, okay, well, it's easy for you. Your child still has structure and stability and clubs and things that they go to, right? So it's still a massive change. And one of the things that our son has really benefited from is really being in more of a familial community. He's very chatty. And actually, when we left the country, he was like, Mom, I like it a lot better here in St. Vincent because people actually talk to me.
Wow.
He loves animals. So he's got animals abound. He's got a lot more freedom in St. Vincent than what he has in the UK. Right? So I want us to move away from what about the things that we're losing and focus on the things that we are gaining.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love that. But then at the same time, I respect what you're saying, but I think also it is to do with our mindset, because we have been programmed to think in a certain way. And obviously for yourself and Zoe, you've just made a point where you just decided this is what you're going to do. So with regards to you, Zoe, you said you went to Grenada in 2015 for 6 months. Obviously you was going Grenada back and forth as a young person, as a young child. But in terms of what happened in that 6 months in 2015, that just made it just like, right, okay, boom, I'm going to make this plan for this transition. I'm going to be going in the next, say, 5 years, because you was planning to go there in 2020 anyway, obviously due to the pandemic. So it just kind of delayed things until 2021. So what happened in that 6 months to conceal it for you to say, right, this is it?
Yeah, to be honest, it wasn't really like that. It would have been nice if it was that simple. So I moved here in 2015 with my then partner. We previously lived before in Ibiza, and the deal was, listen, if I move to Ibiza, you've got to move to Grenada, because I like to negotiate like that. So he wasn't necessarily the most willing person to be in Grenada. And at the end of 6 months, the decision was like, this isn't going to work for us as a family. So it definitely wasn't like, okay, I did it and then I'm coming. But just, I think that realization that where you are really isn't working for you. Like, yes, you can holiday it away. You can just be on Instagram the whole time checking out someone else's pictures. But when you just know that your day-to-day reality just isn't it. And for me as well, as a parent, like the sort of lifestyle that I was living in the UK, like my kids were in the house all the time. That's horrible. Like, why are they in the house? My son was at school and having to deal with racist teachers. I'm like, why am I doing this when I did this in the 80s and we're now in the 2020s, whatever the year is? Like, it's not necessary. So all of that just made the pros of being in the UK just not really stack up. I remember my dad, he was born in Grenada, but he totally doesn't get me coming back. He thinks I'm absolutely crazy. But he's like, all the museums in England, well-known schools, well-known universities, and that is true. But I think at some point, you as a parent, someone who's responsible for guiding your child and opening up a full array of opportunities to them, has a responsibility to do what you think is going to be most beneficial for them as an adult. And I think for me as a parent, for my children, I want them to know that there's a full array of experiences. And being in Grenada, the freedom that they have is amazing. Being part of community is amazing. Being in a culture where they feel like the majority is really, really important for how I want them to move through the world. And it hasn't been easy. Like my kids complained about, they complained about the sand. Who complains about the sand? I'm like, oh, we don't like the sand here, or like the water isn't like it is in England. And the worst was when England was playing the West Indies here in Grenada for the cricket. They said they were supporting England. I'm like, oh my goodness, where did I go wrong? So it hasn't been simple, but I definitely feel like I'm planting a seed that in 10, 15, 20 years time, they're going to get it. And also like their dad is in England. So now they're there for the summer. So I think where we're at is like they're learning to live location independently. So for a chunk of the year, they're in Grenada, but for another chunk, they're in the UK, and they might end up being somewhere else. And I think that sort of fluidity, flexibility is something that's really exciting for them. Not necessarily easy, but yeah, that's a choice I've made.
Amazing. So what's the ages for your children? How old are they?
So mine are 11, 6, and 5. So juggling that as a single parent is a lot. It's a lot. But being somewhere where I have to be less hyper vigilant as a parent really makes a difference. It makes a huge difference.
So with Dayna, you're actually homeschooling. Are you still homeschooling your youngest? Yeah. So
Absolutely, yes.
What about you, Zoe? Is your children, are they in a school in Grenada? Are you homeschooling them?
I like the idea of homeschooling, but now I go nuts. I had a trial run in the pandemic, and now I would love the idea of doing it, but I just don't have. I'm not as good a person as Dayna. I can't do it. They go to school.
It's challenging.
Listen, everything's challenging. Whatever choice we make, there's always challenging. I am not Mary Poppins. My son will tell you.
I lie.
Mary Poppins. No lie shall be told in this place. I was up on London Transport yesterday talking to this child that embarrassed me out in the streets.
Okay, so the next question I wanted to ask you both was in regards to like, have you both got like Grenada passport, St. Vincent? Do you know? So how does it work? Can you work, because you work remotely? Is that correct, Dayna?
Yes.
And Zoe, you work remotely as well, where you've created your online business, the Exodus Collective, which we're going to discuss about further, because that is just absolutely amazing what you're doing with the Exodus Collective. And I want to big up Kwame as well for connecting me with Zoe. My big bro, and he's going to be joining us next week because we are going to continue with a series, and we've got Clarence who's going to be joining us because she's going to be talking about actually leaving Mississippi, going over to Jamaica with no parents, no family, no nothing. But anyway, that's for next week. So if you want to know about that, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. So what's business like for you? How are you working? How are you financially supporting yourself out there, Zoe?
Me, so I moved out here after I started working remotely for a company in the UK. So that was literally the thing that made me be able to move here, because one, unemployment is really high in Grenada, and two, I don't think it's right for me to kind of take a local person's job. So yeah, being able to earn in pounds, live in Grenada definitely was the way forward. But I also applied for Grenadian citizenship back in 2015. So I do have a Grenadian passport. My kids don't. So every 3 months I have to pay to extend their tourist visa, which costs 75 EC a month, which is about, God, the exchange rate is gone. What's 75 EC, Dayna? Not much. Like
it's about £20.
Yeah, about £20. So not much.
So you have to pay that every month or every 3 months?
Well, I pay it when I go to catch my flight. I pay it late. I pay it like 3 months after we've overstayed.
Okay,
Caribbean. But yeah, you can do it in blocks. You could do it for like 3 months or 6 months or whatever. And then I think after you've been here for 2 or 3 years consecutively, then you can apply for residence. So that's what a lot of people do from the States. people who've got no family connections. People often say, oh, you need a digital nomad visa, but quite often there are more affordable ways of working around that.
Of course, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what about yourself, Dayna?
So I come in on a regular schmegular tourist visa, have myself the best time. And if you need to, you can extend your tourist visa. There are numerous other ways, like Zoe was saying. You don't actually, for most countries in the Caribbean and Africa, you don't need any kind of nomad visa. You just have to adhere to the terms of the visa that you have. So a tourist visa, for example, will prohibit you from being employed in that location because you don't have a right to be employed. And obviously, if you're working online, and your jurisdiction where you're serving clients, for example, is obviously not in that country, as long as you are, don't be in these streets saying that Dayna and Zoe are trying to tell you anything illegal. No, all legal, above board, adhere strictly to the terms of your visa and you will be fine. Now, if for St. Vincent specifically, a tourist visa runs for 6 months, so you don't need to get it renewed up until then. And then obviously, if people want to look at residency, obviously you need to find the kind of local passport office for where you are in the Caribbean or in the African continent, and obviously follow the procedure there.
Okay. Right. And you don't know like how much it costs if you was to apply for like a passport within like say St. Vincent or with Grenada. Do you guys know?
In Grenada, if you apply in person, here it is around 250 EC. If you apply in the UK, it's £250. So it's a significant difference. And I would definitely always recommend, if you can, well, first apply, if you're starting off, you need to apply for citizenship, which takes about 6 months, and then after you've got citizenship, then you can apply for a passport. If you do it in Grenada, the chances of your birth certificate and everything else going missing is much smaller than if you send it from the UK, and it also takes less time generally. So if you can, next time you're on holiday, just do it, and be
And
done.
do you have to have,
so go ahead, Miss T.
no, like in Jamaica, you have to have a connection like for your grandparents. Is it the same there?
Yeah, so Jamaica's a lot better. Like, it's definitely through grandparents, whereas in Grenada, sometimes it depends who you speak to. In practice, it's supposed to only be through parents, not grandparents. So they're quite strict about who they'll open it up to. But I have heard of people who have found other ways around it, but in general, it's through parents, not grandparents, which is a shame, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Because then what happens if the grandparents then came over to the UK or wherever it is, then they kind of like lose their rights to be able to get that dual passport or citizenship in the country of their place of birth of their grandparents, which is quite sad.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think most islands don't have the grandparents rule, which I was surprised about. Most are parents. So I think folks really need to look into sorting out those options, because I think citizenship, with the way the UK is going, you don't know when you're going to need a get out of jail route. So yeah, that's definitely something to look into.
Absolutely. Definitely. I think just tailing off of that, making sure that we're sorting out these arrangements. And we had some complications with our arrangements with my husband, because he actually wasn't born in St. Vincent either, right? So the longer the gap between whoever was born in whatever jurisdiction and when we're trying to fix the scenario, i.e. now get a passport, get residency, the more complicated things become. So I also really want to encourage people, can we please stop sitting on our hands, get these passports and residencies and citizenship and everything gone, because we're out here behaving like everyone's going to be alive forever. And we really, really are not, right? And it's not just about the passport. It's about our connection and having a root somewhere else that others will always have a choice whether they go back to. But once it extends past 1 or 2 generations, we no longer have that choice, right? Yeah. And at the end of the day, we know what is in foreign. We've been in foreign. We're experiencing foreign, right? Let's make sure we leave the door open for the subsequent generations to make their own choice, and that we keep that root and that connection for them, instead of in 3 generations' time, we won't even know anything about Caribbean and the
Come
African
on now.
continent because all of the people would have died and passed
Yeah.
away. So seriously, let's get it sorted. And if we can go to whether it is in the Caribbean or in Africa and do it in person, as Zoe was saying, it's much easier, it's much speedier, and the chances of things going wrong are really diminished.
Yeah, I
Thank you
agree.
so
See,
much. I
Yeah.
100% agree with you in that. Miss Kim, you
Absolutely.
wanted to say something?
No, this is exactly what I wanted to hear, because I've been saying it for years. In terms of myself, my parents didn't take me back to Jamaica, and it was a botheration for me. I didn't understand it. Like, you're supposed to take your children back to where you're from. It's important. And the fact that a lot of our children are displaced because they don't fit here, they don't fit there. They're having an identity crisis, and they shouldn't have to be having an identity crisis. It's our responsibility as parents to open those channels for them. So for me personally, it's been very important. I've taken my children back. My children know where I'm from, where their grandparents from, where their great grandparents from, and they have that connection. And they're always asking, when are we going home? I always said to them from when they were little, this is not your home. You're born in the UK, but this is not your home. This is just, we're just here for the time being. So they know they know that they're going to be traveling somewhere, that England is not the spot for them. So I'm so
Absolutely.
happy. I'm so happy to hear you both, just bring that clarity. People need to know, that England is just
time.
not. It is time.
It really
Time.
is
You
time.
have options. And even what you were saying, Dayna, about change, the one thing that is definitely consistent, and we're all so much against it, is like, you have to get over that hurdle, whether it's in
It's
your
easier
mind.
when you're in an environment where other
Yeah.
people are doing the same thing,
Yeah.
right? Because you will get swept up in the groundswell. Like, since we've left, so many other people are not necessarily leaving, but they're making it a priority to go home. And I think sometimes we make it all or nothing. So many people have said to me, Dayna, I'd love to do what you've done, but I'm just not in a position to do that. And I'm like, cool, where can we start from now? What is a small thing that you can do, that you can make a commitment and see it through and make a plan for later? Because actually, you might want to immigrate lock, stock, and barrel, and it might not be for you. So I'm not an extremist. Like, if this is going to work for you, make it work for you. But the thing that we all need to do is we need to keep that connection to that root and that connection to home. So that's the thing that you'll hear me talking about the most. Even though this isn't my mainstay, it's not my profession, like the amazing professional Zoe, that's your girl. Go and see her, she can't sort you out.
Yeah.
But I kind of champion this notion of this connection. And a lot of us are extremely disconnected in the African and Caribbean diaspora, as Miss T was saying, never been taken home. I was talking to a friend who's from a Nigerian family. Mum and dad used to go back, birthdays, weddings, christenings, bar mitzvahs, never took their children once. So what type of message are we sending our children when we don't keep them connected? We're sending a very loud and clear message that that isn't where you should be, and this is where you should be. And if the UK, if wherever the States works for you, that's fine. But many people, there's this yearning, there's this hankering for them to have more of a connection to home and maybe to emigrate. But a lot of the time, it's all the barriers. Don't know where to start. I've got the kids, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. Let's start with what we can do, and keep it moving from there, and focus on what we can gain, as opposed to what we're going to lose, because we don't even know whether those things are even real or not. It's completely subjective from our standpoint until we actually have that lived experience. And similarly to what Zoe was saying, just being in a place where everybody looks like you, everybody in society, the judge, the criminal on the street, the old lady sitting, everybody, the police officers. So having our children grow up in those environments where they understand that they are part of the global majority. I do not use the term Black anymore. No disrespect to anyone that does, or BME, BAME. I'm just talking about me. We are global majority people because words are incredibly powerful, and we've been conditioned Black doesn't mean anything. You're Grenadian,
Thank
you're
you.
Jamaican, you're St. Lucian, you're Nigerian. You have a people. Your people are Twi or Fanti, or you speak Ga, or whatever the case is. Stop doing this rubbish about. For me personally, we're just all black. It's just some lump, black and white, and that's it. It's nonsense. We're global
Preach
majority
this.
people, and we need to go out and own the world, because we do own the world.
We do.
Global majority people, Indigenous people, Black, African, Caribbean people, we are the majority of the world.
See, look,
So
I'm getting hot now. She's talking my language.
We need to reconnect to that root, and that makes it easier for us to make any change, whether it's about emigrating or knowing that we're settling. Essentially, what we're talking about here is that the cutting off, right, of settling. We are not in the settling business. We are not in the spiritual alignment of settling. If you want something for your life, I believe if you have the want to, you will find the how to, and it might not look the way you want to look, and it might take a lot longer. It often takes a lot longer, as Zoe was saying. 2015 to 2022. Let's stop acting like life is some microwave popcorn thing. It is not. So I want to hear about what you're going to do. I want to hear about what you're going to commit to. I want to see some people in those comments saying, you know what, today, tomorrow, next week, I'm going to sit down and have a conversation with my family or my significant other or my children. I'm going to look at flights. People, what are we going to do? That's
Amen, amen. Ashe, Ashe. I love that, Dayna. And you know something? You know what? You just made my body all just. That's why I had to kind of distract myself everything for a little while, because I'm like, yo, I'm gonna say, preach it.
Yes,
Yes,
for me. I'm not gonna
no,
lie
but
to
the
you.
thing is, in regards to you saying about black, that it doesn't exist. I mean, obviously, we know the reason why they have all the race and everything else, because it is economical. It is about money and everything else, and it is the, you know, it's divide and conquer at the end of the day. So I totally agree with what you're saying, and I know Miss T is 100% behind you, because she's been talking this ever since I've known her, since 2016. I'm not black, you know, and I'm like, okay, you know, but as eventually as time has gone by, I'm starting to understand, you know, the reason why we've been categorized like this. Is the same with religion, etc. But anyway, that's not about today's show. But what I do want to jump onto next is talking about, like, say, health insurance. How does that work in Grenada? How does that work in St. Vincent? What is that like for anybody that wants to actually, you know, make that move?
Yeah, so there in Grenada, there are a number of different healthcare providers. I've forgotten the name of the one that's being recommended to me, but because I tend to go back and forth, I actually just have like long-term travel insurance, like healthcare under travel insurance, and I'm also regularly back to the UK. But having tried to get a GP's appointment on my last attempt at being in the UK, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to give Bupa a call. But yeah, there are a number of healthcare options. I mean, the healthcare, as a Grenadian citizen, there is healthcare available to you. When I came here in 2015, I was 4 months pregnant. So most of my midwife appointments were at the local health center here. And it wasn't glitzy and glamorous, but the woman actually took time to talk to me. She's like, oh, your iron is low. You need to eat sweet potato leaves, you know, like, whereas in the UK, they're just like, get you in, chuck you out. So yeah, definitely there are some problems with healthcare here. I wouldn't want to have heart surgery here or anything serious, but on the flip side, the quality of life is a lot better. The option to have natural food is there. The option to be way less stressed. So in some ways, it can counterbalance the deficiencies that are there in terms of the health system. But there is healthcare available, quite often in case of serious surgery or emergencies, that there'll be the option to fly to Barbados or Trinidad or the US.
Right.
So yeah, but there is a functioning healthcare system here, but it's I think it's one of Grenada's down points, unfortunately. I think folks who want to come back here and retire, the fact that there are limitations is something that puts people off. So fingers crossed that will change, because we actually have one of the best medical universities here on the island, but there's just no linkage between that private university, which is American, and the national healthcare system. So fingers crossed, we've got a new government, so maybe that will change.
Yeah.
And this is one of the other issues that we face, is the brain drain, where they take our brightest, you know, young people, and they go into America and they come into England to work, we need to make it so that they can work where they're from, and so that we can benefit from that, instead of them having to come and not be paid as well as they could be because the NHS is saying, no, come and work for us.
Yeah.
We need to make that, those opportunities.
And I think the pandemic has made a lot of people reflect. A lot of people came over and was like, okay, this is a dream. Actually, it really isn't. And so many people who've been in the UK for like 10, 20 years are like, actually, no, it's time to go back. There's a definite shift for sure. And it's long overdue. It's long overdue.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
Did you want me to answer the question about the healthcare as well?
So
very, very similar to what Zoe's saying, obviously, functioning healthcare system. One of the things that people have to consider when they're thinking about moving abroad is the things that are important to them and the things that are a priority on their list. And when we are talking about Caribbean countries who, for, as we know, historic and infrastructural and economic issues, the healthcare system is not the same as what you're going to experience in the UK. Now, if that is something that is a complete, what they say, deal breaker these days when we're talking about relationships, then there may be other places in the world that you want to consider going to live in if you want to live lock, stock and barrel. So again, yes, for us, I saw a doctor once when I was in St. Vincent for 8 months. I paid to go and see a doctor. It was something like £20. So we're not talking about anything particularly extortionate. As Zoe said, I wouldn't want to have heart surgery, so I'd be going to Barbados. Another place that a lot of people from the Caribbean go to, which is incredible, is Cuba, right? It's Cuba, Barbados. That's kind of where we are on the list. Hopefully, as Zoe said, things will get better moving forward. But again, if you want to go and see a dentist, a doctor, that type of thing, it's really going to be about paying. There are different numbers of insurances that you can get. So, for example, if you wanted to get an insurance where if you needed to be airlifted out of the country, for example, obviously you would just pay privately for that. So that's where we are in terms of healthcare. But no, my experience was incredibly pleasant. I had a better experience with the doctor that I went to see in St. Vincent than I had with my experiences in the UK. And being back here, I didn't even bother we went to see a dentist, went to take the little ones to a dentist. We paid to go and see a private dentist because, I'm just not in the headache of trying to sit there, ring off the phone and get up at 8 o'clock in the morning to try and that now. Yes, that's how we deal with the healthcare. Kaz, I just wanted to say I've got a few more minutes.
Yeah, okay.
My next engagement has been pushed back to 10:45.
Oh, you got a few more minutes. Oh, fabulous. Yeah. Okay, great stuff. Okay, so Miss T, did you want to ask any more questions? Because I've got like loads of questions. I know we're not going to get through them all this evening, but is there anything else you wanted to ask with relations to health?
No, they've answered all my questions, to be quite honest. Being a doula, I like to hear what Zoe had to say about that, because this is why I'm a doula as well, is because I want to set up charities where I can come to the Caribbean and provide those services. Because I mean, you hear horror stories in the UK. Let's not get it twisted. Okay, most women's experience of childbirth here is not that positive. And that's the other thing that everybody needs to know. So as much as you say, we've got the NHS and, I don't know what I'd do without them, they can also be very traumatic to engage with. So do you understand? So like, I'm just grateful to hear the positive news aspects about the Caribbean. And I don't think enough people are talking about it. So I'm just really happy to be having this conversation with both of you queens.
But I think I've got to be honest. I think yes, there are many pros to being in the Caribbean, but it's not simple and it's not easy. So for example, while my experience with the midwife was great, one of the reasons I chose not to give birth in Grenada is that at the general hospital, the birthing unit, the birthing room, is literally next door to the morgue. So you're giving birth and there's dead bodies rolling past. And the partner isn't allowed into the room and you're supposed to lie on the bed and labor. So it can be quite tempting to idealize the Caribbean, but in a way it is still the site of a lot of colonization and a lot of practices that don't necessarily make sense. So you're kind of like weaving your way through it, knowing that your own mind is colonized, yet you're also in a place that has been colonized. So I think when you reach a level of awareness and consciousness to be able to do what you would do, which is to come back and say, listen, there's stuff about our ancestral traditions that we need to be aware of when it comes to birth work. Like, that's really, really important. And I think the region is definitely ripe for that sort of conversation. And I think the challenge is really how to have that in a really humble and open way, and not, because I think there's something about a British accent that's quite triggering. Folks are kind of, they don't necessarily like being told what to do by folks who speak like us. So it definitely requires a lot of growth being here. It pushes you to really be aware, because there's a lot of opportunity, but it's not simple. And I definitely don't want to kind of be like, come to the Caribbean, it's easy. It's not. It's not easy, but if you're willing to put the work in, the return on investment, I think, is a billion times higher than what you would achieve in the UK, I think, personally, but that's just me.
But something, I mean, as we're on this subject itself, we talk about health and everything else, and what you said, Miss T, I feel that because obviously when you think about the National Health Service, the majority of those who are actually in the National Health Service, whether it's the nurses, district nurses, etc., is mainly global majority people, right? So if we was to take all of that experience and come back to, say, the West Indies, come back to Africa, and put those systems in place in our home countries, could you imagine how advanced we would be? Because we're actually building up the West when we should really be going home and building us up, so that everybody will say, okay, you know what, I'm not even thinking or being fair if I was to have, a heart attack or whatever it is. I know I'm being a bit extreme, but I know that the healthcare support is actually here in my country. There's people that still looks like me, but are educated, have the experience, that can actually do the job even better than in the West, because we're actually building the West. So
that is definitely the topic for another show, because there's many reasons in terms of culturally, foreign is always seen as better. And the aspiration and the thing that you should really be striving to, like if you're able to go away and go and work abroad. So again, like Zoe was saying, not to idealize everything. There are, many times I've been caught in conversations, or people make many assumptions like, oh, you must not be able to wait until you go back to the UK. Like, you booked your flight and whatever. And I'm like, no, like, I'm fine here. I prefer it here. The amount of times people have nearly fainted on me when I've told them I prefer being in St. Vincent than in the UK, and they're not able to get their minds around that because of how they've been inculturated, and as Zoe was saying, colonized, to believe that, well, why would someone from there want to come here? What do we have that you don't have from over there? So there's a lot of cultural work, and again, it's almost like being in a bit of a time warp sometimes when you're engaging with people and services. I'm kind of like, this must be what it was like 30 or 40 years ago, doing X, Y, and Z. So
Going
it
to the
does
bank.
take, girl, how much time do we have? Ain't got enough time. Right?
I feel like we're going to have to do part 2 of this whole conversation.
I think so.
There's so much more to be talking about. I feel that part 2 is definitely going to be required. You guys going to be up for it?
For sure.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, so what I want to jump onto next is to talk about, I want to talk about the Exodus Collective. I want to talk about, Zoe, what the Exodus Collective is, what is the service for those who are actually on the live and never heard of the Exodus Collective. If you can just talk about the services that you offer.
Yeah, to be honest, the Exodus Collective just started out as a conversation that I felt it was important to start having in the middle of the pandemic. It was probably like a month after the murder of George Floyd, and I was watching CNN on repeat, just being full of rage. And a friend of mine who'd also moved to Grenada from the US said, listen, why don't we start telling the story of what it looks like for folks to move to the Caribbean? Because I switched between Caribbean and Caribbean because I speak to American people, but you get what I mean. like so much of the narrative is or was, if you move to the Caribbean, you need to wait until you're like 65. You've got to build a big old house that like can fit your grandchildren, and you're probably gonna, yeah, you might not last that long there, or you would have tons in the bank. But I think from just my experience and people that I knew that wasn't the case. And actually, kind of as you were saying, really, the Caribbean needs people who can move back in their prime and who can contribute and who can reverse the brain drain. So coming from a journalistic background, I was like, why don't I just chat to people who I know who've made the move, and like, let's talk about what that experience is like. So literally that's how it started. It was just like once a week, I'd interview people who'd moved, whether it was from the US to Jamaica, Trinidad, like all over the place, just kind of trying to put the Caribbean back on the map. Because I think lots of people think about doing that to West Africa, but the Caribbean wasn't so immediately on people's radar. So that's basically how it started 2 years ago. I then started doing kind of just one-on-one calls for people who just didn't really know where to start, because sometimes it can feel quite overwhelming. And I guess I had experience of living in Italy and in Spain, so the idea of living elsewhere wasn't that new to me. And yeah, like I think lots of people seem to want to move to Grenada, so we've had some group workshops and got folks in real estate to share their thoughts, folks who help people start businesses. And yeah, it's just, I think one of the downsides about the Caribbean is that it can be really hard to find information. Like a lot of the way that we share is oral, which is fantastic if you're there. But if you want to search for it on Google, it's like, why is there nothing? Like, how do I find out information? So really, it's just about storytelling, showing people that anyone can do it. Like the lady who you're speaking to next week, she quit the US and moved to Jamaica in 30 days.
Yeah, amazing story.
Another lady
speak to
left
her as well.
She's amazing. Another lady left the US and moved to Jamaica with her daughter in a tent. Like, if you want to do it,
I saw it on your show.
If you want to do it, you can do it. You can put as many hurdles in your way as you want, but if you want to do it, you will do it. And I think that's ultimately the message that I want to share. So yeah, I do one-on-one work, but it's more just inspiring people to get out. If that's your desire, you can do it.
Amazing. So Dayna, I just got a feeling that you're going to be doing some kind of service similar to what Zoe's doing. I can just feel it in my bone. Am I correct?
You guys, you're just having premonitions. Obviously, Kaz knows me well. Me like to talk, right? I don't do much talking on social media or stuff like that, but you know, in my real life networks. So I've had numerous calls with people who are like, look, I want to move to. Someone says to me, they were like, oh, I'm thinking of moving to Panama. I'm like, oh, anything about Panama? But I have had kind of just ad hoc consultations with people, and I have developed a few programs. So I have the Launchpad program, which is for people that have all the I can't do it. We work in a small group, to get them started and make a 5-year plan. I have the Leapfrog program, which is for people who are kind of like, okay, I want to do like a trial run. So, you know, what are the 10 basic things I need to do? And then there's the Lifetime program for people that have the resources, including the mental resources and the financial, who are like, right, I'm ready now. I want to go within the next 30 days, 60 days, 6 months. Can you help me? So that's kind of where I'm at the moment. And that's all coming very, very, very organically. One of my most favorite places in the world now is Bequia in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's one of the Grenadine islands. It's very near to Mustique. So I think Mustique, a little bit close to St. Vincent. And the picture actually that you used for the advertisement, that was taken on the Spring Estate in Bequia. And there is an amazing, amazing, very small boutique hotel there called Firefly. The manager and I get on like a house on fire, and she literally has given me the property for 5 days between the 14th and 19th of September, and has said, if you can get some people here who are thinking of immigrating to the Caribbean, doesn't matter where it is, but to actually get them to come and experience for a few days. If anyone has an interest in wanting to come along to the Caribbean, visiting St. Vincent, coming along to Bequia and staying effectively at at a private boutique hotel that sits in 25 acres of lush green land, send me a direct message.
DM Dayna.
Amazing.
DM me, and I have an amazing package and price that I'm not going to discuss on screen here. If you want to know, send me a direct message. But it's a super 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 steal.
And if you can just share your Instagram, your social media information,
Yes,
so
I've
those
made
who
it really, really, really simple for everybody on the screen. Dayna Byfield. Instagram is probably where I'm most accessible. DMs are always open. Facebook and also LinkedIn. So yeah, just send me a DM if you have an interest in speaking to me about my journey. I am available for christenings and bar mitzvahs. Only joking.
you
But if
probably would
anyone
be because you just spoken it now.
I know, but if anyone does have any, podcasts, interview spots, families, I had a chat with a family of 50 the other day. We had a hoot over Zoom, and we spoke about all things to do with emigrating and some of the just amazing, amazing things, some of the challenges, and how to mitigate those things. Because we want to be sensible as well. You know, it's not all
Absolutely.
glitz and glamour, but it is hands down one of the best things that I have ever done in my entire life. And I am a champion wherever people want to go home and please people. Again, passports, paperwork, having lost a family member, and now going through that process where things weren't done and weren't necessarily put in place. You know, God rest mummy, she did some amazing things and we're very, very, very thankful. There are other pieces that we are now picking up, and many of us are going to find ourselves in that situation where the elders have now gone along. And it
Mhm.
takes a lot of resilience and fortitude and an emotional tank that is full when things are already tough for you to keep going. So we want to make sure we're putting everybody in the best light and circumstance and starting that train in motion, whether it's the passport right now, the citizenship, the residency, whether it's going back. A lot of our people have got homes and properties which are being left out here, neglected,
Mhm.
not maintained. Let's tie up all those ends, birth certificates, death certificates, wills, trusts, all of these things. We need to get our act together because we're not going to be here forever. We don't want to be thinking about it, but let's make sure that we leave that door always open for the generations that come after us.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dayna. And I 100% agree with you because it's really down to us as individuals to really, just even get in contact with your grandparents or if anybody's still alive, just connect, have those conversations because, like you said, once they're gone, that's it.
That's
And
it.
you could have just made the most of actually getting that information, not just for you, but if you do have children, it's for that next generation as well. So going back to you, Zoe, in regards to you moving to Grenada, so where you live currently, are you in like a family home? Are you renting?
No, I'm in a family home. I'm like, damn, am I going to pay rent? No, I need to dance. I need a simple life. I need a very simple life. And I made choices. I could have been somewhere really nice with a swimming pool, but I'm somewhere decent. Because I think quality of life at this point in my life matters a lot more than like the cash aspect. So I chose to downsize. I chose to live relatively simply. I mean, my parents have a house that is empty. So I'm like, why is it empty? Why don't I just stay in it? So that's what I'm doing. And I have another house up in the north of the island that I'm also working on. But yeah, Grenada isn't it's more expensive than St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I think people definitely need to do their numbers because I think quite often we assume the Caribbean is cheaper. It isn't
Yeah.
necessarily so. So I think that's really important. But I also think the options that we have are markedly different to what they were a decade ago. So many of us have the option to work remotely. When you can be anywhere in the world, you get to be really intentional about building around the sort of lifestyle that you want rather than just going where the jobs are. So I think that's something that people really deserve to explore is if I could be anywhere, or if I know that I need to be elsewhere, what do I want that to look like and how do I put those steps in place? So that's what I really encourage people to think about because the days in which you just had to be stuck in one place, they're sliding by. So why not be really intentional about what you want and yeah, call it in.
I love that. And also, what would you say Grenada has taught you about yourself?
Oh my God.
Good question.
And I'm going to ask the same question to you, Dayna, as well.
I think it's taught me so much. It's really, I guess, because I've been here for a year, right? And unlike when I moved to Italy or when I moved to Spain, I came here with the assumption that I would find some source of belonging. The reality is, it's a little bit more complex than that. Yes, I walk the land where my grandparents worked. I know where my great great grandparents are buried, which I didn't know in the UK. But belonging, I haven't yet necessarily found that. But what I'm realizing is maybe I just need to reinterpret my understanding of what it means to belong. Maybe I don't have to fit into a cookie cutter mold of belonging. Maybe I get to create that and create my own community and create my own reality. So yeah, it's taught me a lot. I'm definitely still in the transitional period. So I definitely don't feel like I have the answers. And the growth is intense, but it's very necessary. And I'm looking forward to where it will continue to lead me.
Amazing. And what about you, Dayna? So, what has St. Vincent and the Grenadines taught you about yourself? I just said it.
Yeah,
Yes, you did.
look, look, look. Get this, ladies and sneakers. Woo-hoo. Okay, we'll let you in now. I'll tell Passport Control to let you in because you can pronounce everything. It is such an incredible question. So I'm going to try and give my answer in as concise but layered way that only Dayna can. So I remember landing in Barbados first because the flight's direct to St. Vincent, but you have to touch down in Barbados first. So that was my first time ever touching down on any type of Caribbean soil. And I had this overwhelming full circle moment. My grandparents left the Caribbean to go foreign and build up the mother country. And here I was, decades later, coming back to fill that circle. So that wasn't lost on me. I came out of the airport and I was just like, I'd never seen so much green in my life. And even the color of the earth was just mesmerized. I'd never seen anything that was so layered. And we had to go in quarantine when we got to St. Vincent. And I sat on the veranda for the first time. I looked out and I was like, yep, I'm home. So I got that feeling of home very, 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 very quickly. One of the things I learned about myself almost immediately was how traumatized I'd been by the racism that I experienced in the UK. So although I don't use the term black, I'm gonna contradict myself now. I created a term when I got to St. Vincent called the black pack. Like rat sack? Right?
Black.
So when I got to St. Vincent, I was able to take that black pack off and put it down for the first time in my life and understand what it's like to be a human being. Not a black person, not anything else, a person. So the emotional weight that I was carrying, which I had no idea about, that was a major full circle transformational moment for me. The other thing that I have learnt about myself is how much I respond to the nature and the natural environment that I found myself in. One day I was watching the palm trees sway and I realized I was doing this, right? So I realized how important it is for wherever I am for me to be and feel connected, and how, for better or worse, how much I'm influenced by the environment by the environment I'm in. I have to at this point uh, mention our neighbor, Miss Bascom, local hero. She's 91 years young. She's out in the front sweeping up every day. She runs her shop. She's been running the same shop for at least 50 years. She does not look 91, strong as an ox. She came over to the yard. She plant peas for us. She do everything, keep us in order. And one of the things I learned was that I didn't know how much I needed a Miss Bascom in my life, I'm emotional thinking about her and we miss her so much. We see her every single day, practically apart from Sundays, and have to have that person who can tell you about what was there, what wasn't there. She knew not only my mother-in-law, but she knew my um my husband's grandma from
Wow.
back in the village. You understand? So she's seen
Mhm.
my husband grow. You know, he's going to be 45 soon. She not only has she seen him his whole life, she knew his grandmother. So having someone to tell parts of that family history, and to have someone that can hold you. And I never knew how much I was missing having someone like that in my life. And that sense of community, it was a little bit overwhelming to start with. You know, people just drop in and come bring green banana and they come bring everything, and just stay in your yard and chat for an hour. And you're like, oh, so sweet, you know.
Well, that's beautiful.
Exactly. But now we're used to it, and now we're in the UK and we don't have that. It's like having a hole missing in your heart. So we cannot wait to get back home. I'm so grateful to the beautiful land, the land we love. I'm a Vincy. You can't tell me nothing about an English accent. I am Vincy, right? I'm an African Caribbean woman. Vincy is my home. And we have many, many lineages. There's so many other things, but I don't have time to cover that. But those are really, it's the family, it's the land, how just fertile and beautiful and magical and natural, and seeing all the just beautiful people and seeing the rough and the smooth, right? Because it's not just glitz. People work hard.
Mm.
Vincent has made me appreciate everything I ever had in a way that no other experience could. And to see properly hard, I'm talking hard, break back working people who will give their last to you, right? That's a different thing altogether. So I appreciate all the privilege, and St. Vincent taught me how privileged I was and how privileged I still am. So I feel it's my responsibility, my duty to pay it forward. St. Vincent has also taught me about the luxuries of life, right? I will go to the beach. I will go to the private island when I feel like it. When I get back, I'm going to Beckway. I feel no way about having it all good, bad, indifferent, and in between. So we love you, St. Vincent.
Oh wow, gosh, you guys have got me all emotional.
I know.
It's
I felt
just,
that.
oh, Miss T, you must have a question, please.
Well, no. I mean, I'm just a free talker. I speak from my heart. And so that was very emotive because I connected with everything that you said, because I recall when I got off the plane and I was like, the heat, the smell, the greenery, the earth, you just have that connection. And that's why it's so important to take your children back. So I'm going to go back to the children. You've expressed how you feel, because I am very big on intergenerational work. And the fact that they have that beautiful woman next, they've got that is her story. That is so enriching. How do the children get on with her? Please tell
Oh,
me.
well, the big ones, he's still in the UK. Zion loves him and Miss Bascom. Sometimes he's out of the house by her by 6 o'clock before I'm even awake. We were picking peas. We were doing this. I went and I see the dog Pepper. I took Pepper for a walk up the road. Miss Bascom gave me 5 candies. Love her to bits, but the sweets are a bit much. And yeah, he's missing her so much. And then she's there cussing, this person, and they didn't do this and whatever. And the most funny thing about her, so she has a sweet shop, right? So people will come in and they'll ask for like 3 Dixie biscuits. She say, well, you can't have 3. You're going down. You can get one into this for the people up here. But Miss Bascom, you have them in the coast to sell. No. Man, I tell them all. Them one all. Yeah. She's so funny, just a font of knowledge. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, she's the oldest person where we live as well. So she knows everybody, everything. You want the gossip? Go ask Miss Bascom. She got no wagwan in the place. So yeah.
So you don't basically the reality TV show. She is
Listen,
the
she's
show.
Is
she was
it?
on radio. She was like, oh, I didn't even realize that the lady was taping me. I didn't know when I did an article not too long ago for the Stylist magazine about emigrating to St. Vincent. I'll drop you guys the link. And I mentioned her in the article as well. So then everyone was like, "Oh my God, you're rich press in England," and she was like, I didn't know about that." She's like, "I'm just here in my shop."
Amazing. And
Oh, that's so cute.
local hero. Local hero. I love
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
Those are the things that make my heart.
Oh
Brilliant.
my gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Zoe a question. I know this is gonna sound so random, but before I ask you, are you actually in a relationship? Because you mentioned that your children's father is in England, so I'm assuming you're single, right?
Yes. Yeah, no, me and my kids, we separated. Well, we co-parent, but we're separated for about 5-6 years. So I didn't feel like I'm opening myself up. I moved out to Grenada in a relationship, but I'm no longer in that relationship. I was in a relationship with a Grenadian guy. So we'd been long distance for about a few years. I've known, someone I've known for a while. What, are you going to ask me about dating in Grenada?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that question because I asked
You
Dayna.
want
Dayna
to
have
know?
a
You
man.
want to know? I have a husband.
Yeah, husband. She there.
Yeah.
She's just like not a part of this conversation. She can listen, but she can't take part because me don't want her husband to come for me.
I don't know if I'm the best person to talk to either. I might get cast off the
Oh.
island. So it's small.
Oh,
You
okay.
get
So
what I'm
it's a
saying.
proper
Speak as you're
relationship.
fine.
Oh,
Say that again.
Speak as you're fine.
Yeah, no, I think Grenadian men are beautiful. Really,
yeah, I've seen
really
some.
beautiful. Lovely to look at. Very nice to look at. And then, the rest, I can't. I think Dayna did the right thing and brought someone with her. That's what I would say. That's the best advice.
No, because obviously the reason why I'm asking these questions
Yeah.
because right now,
Mhm.
in England, we, everyone's on this dating app thing.
Mhm.
Everyone's on dating apps, whether it's Plenty of Fish or whatever. I personally don't do dating apps. It's not that I'm a bougie. I'm just like, I can't scroll and look for, it doesn't make no sense to me. I need to meet people in real life, smell you, and see whether you're lying or not, because my intuition will tell me whether or not, boy, this is somebody that's worth my energy. Most of the time I do kind of like get incorrect, but I'm learning to just deal with self at this moment. So I stop attracting those anyway. It's not about you, Kaz, not today. But obviously, like in say in St. Vincent, in Grenada, do you have like dating apps? Because if it's a single woman like myself was to come over and live in Grenada or wherever, how does that work?
Yeah, so like men here are like really forward, which is because I'm 41, so it's in England I feel invisible, whereas in Grenada you're like constantly like the chat is a lot and it's fun. Like some people get offended by it, but I just kind of take it as banter. So it is nice to be seen. Like there's an endless choice of men to look at, and folks. You can go out, you can meet people, but funnily enough, I don't know why I'm putting my life out on the internet, but why not? Let's
Okay,
just keep going
girl.
with it.
Go ahead.
I downloaded Tinder for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And what I can say is that there are tons of beautiful, well-educated, amazing men in Trinidad.
Okay.
And not
So,
in Grenada. That I haven't come across so many in Grenada. So if you're a single woman looking to move to the Caribbean and you want like a choice, like a wide breadth of choice, I would say go to Trinidad. My
right. So,
experience so far is that there are some in Grenada, but not many. And also having spoken to my friends, they're saying the dating scene here is quite small. But it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for fun, Grenada is a great place to have fun. If you're looking for something else, personally, this is just my personal experience. There's obviously plenty of married women here who've managed to do better than I have. But from my personal experience, it's culturally very, very different. Very different.
so when you say different, could you elaborate a little bit? I'm just wait.
So he's like, no.
I'm literally having to fan myself. It's different. So like, I guess I have personally, like if I'm in a relationship, I have some expectations of monogamy unless we decide otherwise. I don't think monogamous relationships are the only thing, but kind of that's the default setting if that's what you decide to do. Here, it isn't necessarily the case. They call it horning. I don't know what you call it in St. Vincent. And it's not even cheating. It's horning. It's just doing
Doing the
something else
thing.
to someone else. And
Doing the
that's
thing, yeah.
that's part of the culture, I would say. And it's not just my percent. Like you hear it in the soca songs, you hear it spoken about on radio. It's a thing. So I don't know. Give it 10 years, and I might adjust to it. But I hope not.
I hope not too. Oh my gosh.
I do want to jump in and say, not about my husband's, he can hear me, he's in the back here, not about relationships in that sense. But one of the things that was really, really, really important to me was that I'm a very social, communal person, as you can all probably tell. So I was very keen to kind of, make friends and have a friendship group and whatever. And I remember about 2 months after I'd got to St. Vincent, I said to my husband, I don't know if this here friend thing is going to work again, because I met some people that were, some ladies that were really pleasant and really nice, and we had some good conversations, but I'm still foreign and they're still from home. There's a cultural difference there. And I remember my husband saying to me, he said, you know what? He said, don't worry, you'll find your place. But I suspect the people that you gel with and that are going to gel with you are probably going to be A, from the business community, and B, they're probably going to be expats. And he was right on the money. So the people that I have gelled with are people that are more kind of business owners, business minded, and they're expats. And I said to him, well, I don't just want to come home and just talk to other people who have I want to make some, firm relationships. And one of my best friends now at home from St. Vincent, but was in the States for about 20 years and then came back. So I found my little niche for a friend group, and that is people who have had international experience. I've met some other lovely people, and my husband went to school in St. Vincent. So, a lot of his former classmates, they have wives and whatever, but we just kind of haven't clicked like that. So we need to find, guys, Zoe, some good expat communities. I'm sure there are in Grenada. I'm going to get on the blower tomorrow, because we're not doing no harm in. No,
we're not.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to speak bad on the whole nation. Like, there are some amazing, wonderful men in Grenada. I've just met not many of them, but for sure they exist. And I don't want to talk bad on Caribbean men, because Caribbean men, like, they can cook. Grenadian men can cook. They don't mind doing housework. So, there are many ways in which you'll be stepping up from the UK. But yeah, it's complex. It's not straightforward.
Very forward though, and my British sensibility was.
No, I just giggle.
Oh my!
Pardon? Talk to me again. Like, I'm in London. Wait, check in for me like that. And all of a sudden, I'm like the honey on the thing. I said, what? I don't know. My favorite was, I have a husband. They didn't even care.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though, isn't it? Because I find men in the Caribbean, even like when I went to Barbados, I went with some guy for the weekend, and it's like that person was invisible, and they were still trying to come and give talk.
I know, yeah, but no, there's just some beautiful Caribbean men, full stop, wherever you are. I might be a married woman, but I have eyes, right? And some really lovely, kind of mannerly, helpful, like pick up your grocery bag, that type of thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Get the doors for you, all the 10 night, walk up the big hill with your shopping bag with you, and all type of stuff. So we have to, definitely put some respect.
Absolutely.
On, but they can be very forward. Yes, them can. Yes, but Trinidad isn't that far from Grenada. We can.
Yeah, I had men chatting me up when I was pregnant. I'm like, I'm pregnant. Like, that don't matter. Wow.
Gosh. Wow. Yes. Some men find that extremely attractive.
Yeah, they're attractive, because I suppose when you're pregnant, you have this kind of glow about you. Yes. Yeah. I've never been pregnant. Like, I haven't had, but I've heard talk where my friends have said, yeah, their man's moved to me, and I'm like, I don't even get a move to, but they're getting it.
Come to Grenada, trust me, it will
exactly
your reality.
Well, I had the same experience while I was in the UK, and I think it's just our men across the board are kings. They're confident, and if you don't ask, you don't get.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is time for us to wrap the show up because I know Dayna, you're going to have to jump off real soon because you've got enough conversation. And for those who are watching right now, if you do have any questions, by all means, do ask those questions. I'm going to share the link. So if you want to come onto the live and you want to maybe share or anything of that nature, by all means, you can do so. But could you just ensure that you are not like, we need to see you because we're not going to be talking to a screen with an avatar. We're just not doing that. So if you want to join in the conversation, by all means, it will be only in the next, say, 5 minutes. So I'm going to share that. Miss T, if you've got any questions, because while I'm just sorting out the link, please go ahead. Thank you.
Well,
think
no, I just
Kwame
see.
should- Kwame
Where's
should come
Kwame?
on.
Kwame says
He should come on and rep for all Caribbean men.
he
Yeah, I'm going
should,
to send
shouldn't he?
so
He's in the comments. I saw the conversation that he was actually having with Ultra, which I found quite interesting. I don't know if you ladies saw the same thing, but
what was being
Not
said.
really. I saw a couple of things
Oh.
flash out.
my eyes too fast. So basically, there was a gentleman in the comments saying that, you know, he wouldn't go back to where he's from, which is Africa, because of the way that religion has basically decimated the place, and nobody really forward thinking enough. It's very, very religious based. So from Jamaica, we have per square miles the most churches.
Right.
What's it like where you guys are at the moment? Is it a big thing as well?
Listen, don't try and tell people about them church. And you're not there to tell anyone about them church. We must live and let live, right? St. Vincent is a deeply Christian country. Minna that, right? But I have high respect for what other people believe in. And I don't feel that impedes on my experience. Sometimes you have to be a bit PC when things come up in conversation. I got some good coaching from a good friend of mine, and she just said, look, if anyone asks you, just tell them you're non-denominational. That's it. That's as far as the conversation goes. But insofar as, and we're talking about the whole of the African continent, with the myriad of countries in Africa, that you can't find one to go back to, because it might not be your home country that you came from, but somewhere like Rwanda, for example. Rwanda is out of this world, doing incredible, amazing things, highest internet speed anywhere in the world, one of the cleanest countries. Forget about all the stuff, you know, genocide, whatever, that was like decades ago now, right? Not saying that it's perfect. Nowhere is perfect. But if you took the time, for example, to go and research Rwanda, boy, that is on my list of places to go and visit next year. The people them have a day every month where everyone downs tools and cleans the country. You understand?
Wow.
People are cleaning drains 5 times a day in places in Rwanda, right? So maybe your home country isn't where it's at, but I'm sure you can look on the continent and fine. And whatever other people believe, as long as you have a respect for their belief and they can respect yours, it doesn't need to cross purposes.
Excuse me.
You okay there, Zoe?
I am perfectly. Yeah, no, I agree. In going back to the religious thing, Grenada, it's fairly religious, but I think part of the reason that I'm here is that being able to feel into my ancestral connections is massively important to me. And Grenada is a very African country. Like, we look African, we're very dark. The food that we eat is, you can see the linkages there. And what's quite exciting is becoming aware of the ways in which the sort of ancestral spirituality is still practiced in many ways. I've managed to link up with a cousin who moved to Trinidad, and he's a Babalao. So I think I do see myself
He's
as
a who? Sorry?
a Babalao,
What's a Babalao? Sorry.
like a Yoruba
It's a high
priest.
priest.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So just before I came to Grenada, I did my DNA testing, and I am very Nigerian, Benin, Togo. So I know where I'm from, and being able to be here and explore those sort of linkages is massive to me. So yes, it's Christian. I am not, and I engage with the levels of Grenada that are very much a celebration of that sort of way of living, because it's beautiful the way in which it's been preserved over hundreds of years, especially if you go to Carriacou, which is on the way to the Grenadines. Like it's so rich. So that's the part I choose to engage with, because I think it's necessary. It's necessary.
Amazing.
Beautiful. Thank you.
There was something I was going to ask you, but then it's just kind of like gone out of my mind. Just please come back.
It's coming right now.
Yeah, and I don't stay in London.
Yeah,
I like to. Yeah, say.
That's it. So you said you're Nigerian. What DNA, what ancestral DNA testing did you do to be able to get that, to believe that to be 100% accurate?
So what's beautiful is that I did the ancestry.com, which said Nigerian, but to know that I was Yoruba was oral history from my cousin. So he remembered his grandmother referring to the in-laws as those Igbo people, and they were Yoruba, or the other way around. So that's why I'm here. Like, that stuff would get lost. And that stuff is so fundamental to who I am, who my children would be, and generations to come. So that's why I think and not everyone has to move here. Grenada, the Caribbean isn't for everyone. A lot of people, it will drive you nuts to be here. But some people will move here and blossom. Other people won't. But even if you don't move, build that connection.
Yeah.
It's really, really important for us as a people.
All right. One more question, I think. Customer service, what's it like out there? Because in Jamaica, it is horrid. So unless you're in a hotel or somewhere like that, touristy. So it's a famous golden I can feel your heart palpitation from over here. So would you like to elaborate?
Just before I elaborate on that, before I have a heart attack, just on the DNA ancestry, myself and my husband did get our DNA tested about 5 or 6 years ago using AfricanAncestry.com. Big up AfricanAncestry.com. Largest DNA database of African origin DNA. I don't think I said that right, in the world. Black scientists, they do not sell your DNA, and they can tell you using modern day DNA, not only the country, the actual people that you're from. So the admixture tells you you're 55% this and 55% that.
Yeah.
Oh, look at AfricanAncestry.com. So when I did mine went back to Sierra Leone. So mother's side, I'm Mende and Timmy. So I know that in Sierra Leone, those are my people. And Guinea-Bissau, we are Fulani. So those are my people. I wanted to know, like, who is my people? So yes, the country, Sierra Leone, but I know Mende, very proud of that, because Mende was all killing up all type of Europeans and doing whatever they need to do. Fearsome warriors, right? And Fulani people, Fulani are very nomadic people. They're business people, traders, right? Don't like to be in one place. So I was like, that's my people. And my husband, very similar, but he comes from the Jola people. And the Jola people are very flat in terms of their, they don't really have like a hierarchy, like, oh, you're at the top and you're at the bottom. Very kind of social justice centered. And that's exactly how my husband is. So the whole picture fit together. So AfricanAncestry.com. Next year, I'm going to Sierra Leone to get my citizenship. Sierra Leone is one of the only African countries that will confer citizenship on you through your DNA test. People, there's about 5 or 6 African countries. Get onto AfricanAncestry.com.
I'm going on to that. So I was going to do what you did, Zoe, and that's actually on my vision board.
Yeah, so do that as well, because it's a complete picture.
So do both. So you suggest?
Yeah, because I did another one, but it was only able to tell me that I was kind of from the Senegambian region, Nigeria, Senegal. It wasn't able to pinpoint for me. But African Ancestry has a number of different ones, but I wanted to know, like, who are my, like, show me the DNA, like, where's my people? And they hold the largest database of African DNA anywhere, and they use Black scientists, and they don't sell your DNA. A lot of the companies we use, they sell our DNA. That's why they're so quick to connect
That's
you to
why I've
everybody.
never done it personally.
So can I just ask, so how do they actually do the testing? Like how, because you're saying about DNA, so what's the process?
You get some swabs.
Yeah.
You swab the inside of your cheek, put it in a pack. It goes to the lab. They analyze the results, and then they will, based on whatever test, obviously, there's different types of testing you can opt in. You can go on their website and tell them Dayna sent you, and then you send me a check.
Yes.
I was going to say, you just done a whole advert, girl.
My check.
What's nice is that you can also use it to build your family tree.
Exactly,
as well.
and it's the same. So they go back about 6,000 years. So every woman in your family, it's the same because it's mother of mother of mother of mother of mother.
Mitochondria DNA. That's a
so
whole
you
level
can go
show.
to your mum, your sister, your aunt, as long as they're a blood relative, and say, look, this is where we are all from. It's not even just you. And if you're a male, you can do male and female side of the family, so you get the complete picture. Ladies, we have to ask if we want the male side, we need to ask like dad, uncle, brother, etc., if he will go and take the test as well.
Okay.
Nature has
Thank
designed.
you so much.
Kwame.
So man like Kwame just come and joined us.
Hey, Kwame.
He's always on.
Kwame, is it internet connection?
Yeah.
Because these are the problems that you do have in the West Indies, right?
Eh?
Internet connection. I'm just saying. So these are things that we have to be.
Yeah,
we have to, you know.
Yes, we hear you. Slightly delayed.
We're fine in Grenada. Just saying, not bring any shade.
Right? Okay.
Ooh, so we're trying to fight.
so which is the best island so far? Zoe looks like she's strong at the moment with her internet connection. So it looks like Jamaica's just kind of like flowing.
Small islands got to have something in their favor, right? We've got to be good at something.
All right.
So, Kwame,
I know.
The conversation.
Yeah. Hey, it's great meeting Dayna, actually. Yeah, great meeting Dayna, man. I love her vibe, man. I love Zoe already. Come on, Zoe. But I love Dayna now. I love Dayna.
Thank you.
Listen, Dayna's a gal, man. She is the one. Trust me. And I will say this, Dayna, because you know, when you shared the article that you was in, and I said to you, it triggered me. And look what I'm doing. I'm talking about this because you know it's coming, girl. So there was an amazing article. If you can just share a bit more about the article that you was talking about, you leaving England, going over to St. Vincent. Was it, which magazine was it?
So it was the Stylist magazine.
Stylist magazine, yeah.
And there were 7 contributors. Sorry.
No, I said okay. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I will share the link. So if you want to share it out, guys, you can.
Okay.
So I was in the Stylist magazine a few months ago. So that's a London-based magazine, has a circulation of about a few million a week. You know how we do in this place. And the article was about remote working. So there were 7 contributors to that article altogether. Obviously, yours truly was at first, of course. And so that was about remote working, obviously in the Caribbean, St. Vincent specifically. And I did a little bit of a day in the life of one of my, again, top 10 places in the world, Young Island, which is a private island about 200 meters from mainland St. Vincent. It's only accessible by ferry. It's just beautiful. Private beach. There's a hotel on there. And I was essentially talking about, you know, what it's like as a working person in the Caribbean. So yeah, that got circulated very, very, very wildly, probably wildly, but widely as well. And that was fantastic. And we worked with a great contributor and journalist with that as well. And talking about all things working from St. Vincent, and obviously, you know, big up Young Island. Miss Bascom made it into the Stylist as well. Big up Miss Bascom. And yeah, we're telling our own stories.
Amazing. But could I just ask you, Zoe? Okay. You know, similar story with Dayna talking about like with the neighbors coming together and, you know, just sharing and checking on you and having conversation. Is that something that you experience as well in Grenada?
To be honest, I live in a kind of expat community, a kind of gated community. So
Right.
folks here are more private, which I don't like. I just happen to be here because I don't have to pay rent. In the north of the island, because it's more country, yeah, for sure. People like pick up my mail for me, drop me in fruits. It's much more, it's just richer. Like the sounds are richer. You always hear people chatting. I remember, I don't know if you can see behind me, that's a photo of my granddad, and we'd be sitting there like taking the mace off nutmeg or shedding peas. And it's just like a community thing. And that the old people be talking patois or Creole, and I didn't understand a thing, but that was Grenada to me. So here it's fancy, it's well-to-do. But my kids enjoy it. Like there's lots of other children here, so they go from house to house. They'll be gone for like 6 hours. I have no idea where they are. They're just roaming through people's houses. But the adults, oh, I keep on forgetting this is going out on YouTube.
Talk the thing, mummy.
It's just us.
The adults are great. It's different. I'm not gonna lie, it's different. There are some great adults, and there are some great adults, but it's different. It's not country.
But then you said that it's expats, so I suppose it is still the same programming from wherever they come from. I'm assuming more people's from like the West.
Expats and well-to-do Grenadians. So I guess folks who've maybe lived abroad. And privacy is nice too. You know, sometimes you pay for privacy. So I can understand why people might not want the full-on country experience. But for me, coming from the UK, I need that. I want to feel immersed in it. I want to, you know, have someone over here, that argument I'm having with my partner, and then come in and check on me the next day. You know, I like the villageness of it. And I think if you're going to leave the UK, where people are very isolated, to come to the warmth and communityness of the Caribbean, even though it has its pros and cons, like for me, that's where it's at. That's the life that I want.
Yeah, we're not actually country situated. We're about 10 minutes from the city. So think if it was London, think Liverpool Street to kind of central London. That's kind of approximately where we are. But because of the makeup of the community, it's still very community orientated. But we also have our people that are doing their well-to-do thing as well up by where we are. But we don't worry with them. They do what they're doing, we do what we're doing, and we keep it moving.
Of course, absolutely. All right then. Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap up. Do you have any questions you want to ask Kwame, because you've joined the live?
No, not really, no, because I think that they both covered everything that you could cover in regards to moving to the Caribbean, even though it may be a different island from Jamaica. The experiences and the nuances are probably about the same, you know. So no, I didn't have any particular question myself, but they'll say well done, you know what I mean? Because a lot more people need to see the stories and hear the experiences, you know.
Definitely, and I do hope that this encourages those who are watching and those who are catching the replay, that if you do, you know, have that desire that you want to actually, you know, move abroad, whether it's Grenada, whether it's St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or Jamaica. Hopefully we're going to get somebody from Trinidad, because I want to know about how we can get some romance in the place. And so I'm going to be on a hunt now. So do help me, guys. If you know anybody, do hook a girl up. And so if anybody has any questions and they want, you know, more information, by all means, do get in contact with Dayna, do get in contact with Zoe, and do get in contact with Kwame. They're in different parts of the world, but at the same time, this is where our ancestors are from. So if we want to continue to learn more about our culture, we need to engage with those who are actually doing the walk, and it may be something you desire. And you know, this is not a rehearsal run, this is real life. So you know, time to wait for anybody. We can be gone tomorrow, and we're still trying to think, oh, I just wait until I'm about 60, and you know, you don't even make it to 60, because people are just dying in their 40s and their 30s, etc. So age is just a number, but it doesn't guarantee that you're going to actually make it for the number. Not that I'm speaking death into your life, because I'm not, but it's a part of real life. So do connect with Zoe, do connect with Dayna, do connect with Kwame, because they are actually living the experience. They're doing it. They're doing the thing. And I will be doing it soon as well.
Yay.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah. So, Miss T, do you have any last word that you want to?
You know what? I don't know why, but I've got Salt and Pepper playing in my head. So, in the words of Salt and Pepper, you only live once and you're not coming back. So, express yourself.
Express yourself.
Yep.
Yep. Love that.
It.
Any last words from you, Miss Dayna?
I don't think I can say it any better. Just, pull your finger out and get it done, right? Forget all the fears. Take that one step, because a journey of 1,000 miles starts with that first step.
Love that. And Zoe, Miss Zoe, any last
Okay.
words?
Yeah, last words. Check out your passport options, citizenship options. Even if you don't want to move, it's always worth having a plan B or a plan C. And also, don't take our word for it. Come see for yourself. Come for a week. Come check it out and see if it works for you, because you're the one who's going to have to do it. Yeah, come and see, and then that might start you on the journey. But it's definitely worth exploring, I would say.
Amazing. And Kwame.
Yeah.
Any last words?
Well, you know what? Yeah, well, I couldn't say it any better. It is come experience it, see it for yourself, make the reconnection, because a lot of connections have been lost, and get that feel of being back to nature, I guess, in regards to not just nature in a natural state, but nature of yourself. Because when we live in a different environment, we're not our true selves. I think we live we live behind a mask, behind a facade. When you're in the Caribbean or even the motherland, you have to be a true self. You have to really show up. And get back to that. That's what I would add.
I love that. And guys, make sure you have not subscribed to the channel. Please do so. Please make sure you share this show, because I know you was blessed. There was so much gems, so much information that was shared today. So let's share it with the world. Let's get up to at least about 1,000 views or so. Let's get the subscription high, because I can't do it by myself. I can offer the content and bring on a guest, but I need you guys to do your part as well. So please do share, and make sure you subscribe, and do leave comments. Give us some 5 flames. I'm seeing that people saying they love of Dayna, they love you of Zoe, they're loving the information. They find the show very informative. I'm just going to pop up some of the comments. Maxine said, Marie J.A. said, thank you for the information session. Jamaica. Thank y'all. Clover Lois says, thank y'all for inspired to get out to the Caribbean in January 2023. Whereabouts are you going? Whereabouts in the Caribbean?
Coming to Grenada.
She's
coming, Clover. Yeah, she's one of my peeps.
I know Clover as well.
Actually.
Yeah, I know Clover as well. And she was like, oh my God, you're going to be on with Zoe.
Oh, amazing. I'm assuming Zoe Dayna and having on your show, right? Or am I just...
Dayna, will you please? I know you don't do social media, but it'll be like this. Come promote your
Of course.
I'm so fast. Look how I'm making these connections, yeah?
Yeah, I love that.
Wicked. Okay, and Tremaine, she said, definitely would try the African Ancestry.
Yes,
I'm definitely going to do both as well. Yeah, because I definitely want to know more for myself. So yeah, guys, until next time, same place, same time, God willing, we're having another amazing guest that's going to be joining us next week, and her name is Clarice Morton, and yeah, her story is going to be quite mind-blowing. So until next time, peeps, let me just set myself up so I can actually exit, because
I salute you all. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. So, Miss T, you can just stay there for a moment, because we do have some additional information that we do need to share. Dayna, Zoe, Kwame, thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. And continue to do the great work that you are doing. Dayna, I'm going to holler at you because you're in England, so I want to link up with you. I'm just saying.
Yes, darling.
Yeah, so because I feel that I need some more, I need some little advice a little bit more. But yeah, I want to link up with you for sure. Okay, so bye, ladies.
See you. Bye.
Right. So, guys, okay. So, the additional information that I need to share with y'all is that on the 6th of August, if you are based in the UK, Now Chat Show, we have been invited to well, all right, let me just get the information up because me trying to just like multitask and me forget some. Yeah, I'm slightly tired and I'm getting a bit gassed and getting a bit excited. So basically, the sound bank, the sound, the sound bank is a digital creative like mecca place where people comes to do, like, if they want to do podcasts or anything of that nature, they provide a service. So they provide like studio space and etc. So they've got an event that's going to be taking place on the 5th and the 6th of August. And you're going to have, like, say, DJ Pioneer, you're going to have like Remo London, you're going to have all these different workshops talking about how you can potentially do podcasts. You're going to have Dexter, Mula Cake, who's going to be talking about NFL and talking about cryptocurrency as well. So it's going to be like so many different things going on, and it's a free event. So for Now Chat Show, because we've been invited, we're going to be doing a podcast, Janelle and I, and Miss T will be there as well. We're going to be doing a podcast. We will be sharing more close to the date what we will be discussing, but we do need you to get your tickets. The tickets are free because we're going to be doing the podcast with a live audience. Now, what we need from you guys is to really just turn up. It's a free event. We want to show that we have a loyal listenership, we have people following us, etc. So we need you to come down to the Brixton pop-up Brixton Village. Just bear with me one moment. I'm just going to get the information. Yeah, so that's the information right there. I'm going to actually share it in the comment as well so that you guys can actually get your tickets. It's their first year anniversary, as I mentioned before. I believe the event is actually being supported by Vistaprint. You guys know about Vistaprint, so they're actually supporting this event. So if you can support us, please do come down on the 6th of August between the hours of 4 to 6, so you can get comfortably seated, etc., because there will only be limited space. But I mean, obviously, if you need to stand, you can stand, but we would only be doing a podcast for 1 hour. So we really need you to come down. We do have our media team, which is MediaNet, who has always supported us from the beginning of Now Chat Show until today's date. So he will also be down there as well. So we want to big up MediaNet as well.
Yep, always.
Because they have said, yep, they're going to be a part of it as well. So we need you guys to come down. We need you.
And it's really child friendly. Look at the times.
Yeah, it's good timing. And it's also
they're in the holiday still.
August,
nice day. Take a day of it.
What's the 6th of August? 6th of August is Jamaica International Day. So guys, please come down, because we may even talk about Jamaica. I'm just saying. But we need you to come down. It doesn't matter whereabouts you are from. We just need you to come and join us in the audience as we have a conversation. We're really, really so gassed to be a part of this this event. Is their first year anniversary, and they've done amazing work so far within a creative digital space. So please do come down. It's going to be so much fun, and I'll hate for you not to be there to share it, especially if you're in the UK. So come on down. So do make sure you get your ticket. I've shared it in the comment, and get your ticket. You can get a ticket for more than one or two. You can come down with the whole family if you want to, but it is going to be fun.
It's going to be lit.
It's going to be lit. So as the young people say, yeah, man, it's all lit. You get me, fam. Yeah. So anyway, I don't think I should go there too much because it doesn't quite suit me. And my nephew would say, Auntie, why are you doing that? But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us this evening. This is where we're going to end this show. So until next time, we are going to continue with the Blaxit series. Thank you to our guest Zoe Smith, and thank you to Dayna Byfield, and thank you to Kwame who joined in. And this is the information as well. I just remembered I've got the info, so do make note if you can. But that's going to be the event itself. I'm actually really I'm kind of gassed about it. I've got so much.
Be gassed.
Yeah. Yeah, let me stop saying because when I watch back and I hear myself I'm just like, I want to be like those Americans. They don't even say they just talk. I want to be like them, you know. They just so
No, you're just yourself, and you're amazing.
I hear you. I am myself, but you know, it's just they just got a way of talking. Yeah, maybe I'm just gonna be Jamaican, man. Sure, because I am
It's
Jamaican.
just it, you Kazmak. You are like, I wouldn't be here doing this if it wasn't for you. So I just love your authenticity. You're just yourself. Real
Yeah.
people love real people, and you're a real diamond. You are, mate.
I love you, boo. That's why you're part of the crew. That's why I love you. Anyway, guys, it's time for me to go and look about my bed because I want to go gymming on the morning and I have things to do. And I know you want to go too. So until next time, peace out. Stay beautiful, stay blessed. And let me just end it on this note for y'all. See you later. Ciao, ciao, ciao.